All I have in these hands and multiply, God, all that I am and find my heart, all to again, set me on fire, God, set me on fire. Come on, say, take all that I have in these hands and multiply. Oh God, God, yeah, all that I am and find my heart. Oh, yeah. The altar again, set me on fire, set me on fire, set me on fire. Here I am, God, yeah, on fire, open. Pouring out my life, gracefully broken. My heart stands in all of your name, your mighty love, yeah. Stand strong, strong to the end. You will fulfill your purpose in me. You won't forsake. You will be with me. You will be with me. Here I am, God, arms wide open. Pouring out my life, oh God, my life, oh God, gracefully broken.
God is good, and all of the time, God is good. This morning, I want to go right into our text. As a matter of fact, I won't read the text this morning. I'll give you this.
Give me to drink.
How is it that thou, a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? The Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans.
If thou knewest the gift of God, and who it is that saith to thee, give me to drink, thou wouldst have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water.
Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with. The well is deep. From whence then hast thou this living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob, who gave us this well, and drank thereof himself and his children and his cattle?
Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. The water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life.
Sir, give me of this water, that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw.
Go, call thy husband, and come hither.
I have no husband.
Thou hast well said, I have no husband. For thou hast had 5 husbands.
Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet. Our fathers worshipped in this mountain. And ye say that it is in Jerusalem that men ought to worship.
Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain, nor yet at Jerusalem, worship the Father. Ye worship ye know not what. We know what we worship, and salvation is of the Jews. And the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshippers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. For unto such hath God promised his Spirit, and they who worship him must worship in spirit and in truth.
I know that Messiah cometh, which is called Christ. And when he is come, he will tell us all things.
I that speak unto thee am he.
I'll start the message by telling you a story about my dog named Bobo. Bobo was the first dog that I had. He was the first pet that I had as a little boy growing up. I loved Bobo. I trained Bobo how to roll over. I trained Bobo how to shake my hand. I trained Bobo how to lay low and to crawl to me. I trained Bobo how to stop at my command, how to go at my command. I love Bobo. And when school started, I received Bobo in the summer, but when school started, I would tie Bobo up to keep him from leaving the house. And when I would tie Bobo up, he had a range of the yard. The only thing is that I didn't need for Bobo to go over to the left side of what he was tied to. And so what I did was I would set up a barricade to keep Bobo from crossing over to the left side. But as fate finds itself, every day I'll come home, Bobo would be tangled up in the line. He would be all wrapped around in the line. I would unwrap him and I would put him back on the right side of the line that he was tied to. One day I came home, Bobo was entangled in the line. But not just the normal entanglement. He was entangled in such a way that he was gasping for air. As a matter of fact, if I would not have come at that particular time, Bobo probably would have died. I want to talk to you this morning from the subject of entanglement. From the subject of entanglement. Just like my dog, Bobo. Just like my dog, Bobo. We often find ourselves entangled. And God keep trying to put us on the right side. He keep trying to make sure we stay where we're supposed to be. No matter how many barricades that he has put up, but we find ourselves still entangled. My friend, this morning, I want to talk to you about the dangers of entanglement. And then I want to talk to you about how we find ourselves out of this entanglement. Watch this. Watch this. So as we look at our message on this morning, it was Will and Jada Smith. It was Will and Jada Pickett Smith who introduced this word in such a way that it's going viral. They began to talk about entanglement. As a matter of fact, I looked up the word entanglement, and the Urban Dictionary defined entanglement as what you call an affair when you're trying to soften the blow. Matter of fact, Jada said, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement with August. In other words, Jada was trying her best to soften the blow of the word affair. Jada was trying to soften the blow of the word of cheating on her husband. She said she got into a different type of entanglement. But I didn't stop there. I went on to look up the word entanglement just a little bit further. The dictionary defined entanglement as this. The dictionary said it's an extensive barricade, typical made of interlaced barbed wire and stakes erected to impede the enemy soldiers or vehicles. In other words, this entanglement was set up that when soldiers tried to come in attack, they find themselves in the middle of this entanglement. But watch this. What entanglement does is that the more you try to get out of this entanglement, the more you find yourself deeper in the entanglement. So entanglements are very dangerous. Watch this. As we jaywalk into the text in John chapter 4, verse number 7, I want you to look at how Jesus deal with this entanglement. Jesus find himself at the well with this woman. This woman was at the well, and this woman was a Samaritan. Now, for those of you that don't know, Samaritans have no dealing with Jews. As a matter of fact, Jews did not even speak, especially Samaritan women, did not even speak to Jewish men, especially men. But Jesus find himself at the well, and he asked this woman for a drink of water. Watch this. In other words, I see you working, Big J. Big J is trying to challenge, watch this woman comfort cycle. There it is. He is challenging this woman comfort cycle. Watch this. In order to get yourself out of an entanglement, watch this. You got to challenge someone's comfort cycle. Watch this. That's what August Alsina did. He challenged Jada comfort cycle. How did he do that? He challenged her comfort cycle by exposing their little entanglement, their little affair. And so whenever he challenged their comfort cycle, Jada and Will had to come to the red table and start talking. That's what Jesus done with this woman at the well. Jesus challenged her comfort cycle by speaking to her as a Jew. Watch this. You wonder what is going on. You wonder why all of this is happening in your life. Perhaps God is challenging your comfort cycle so that he can get you out of the entanglement that you have found yourself in. Yes. He's challenging your comfort cycle. That's the reason why he let your supervisor do what he do. It's because God is challenging your comfort cycle. That's the reason why you lost the job that you had security in, that you thought you had refuge in. God is trying to challenge your comfort cycle. Lord have mercy. A lot of time God will let things happen in your life, not to destroy you, but to complete you. And what he does is that he have to challenge our comfort cycle. And so Jesus found himself at the well. And when he found himself at the well, he challenged this Samaritan woman comfort cycle. What do you mean, preacher? What do you mean? That the woman was surprised by Jesus asking her for a drink because she was a Samaritan woman. The prejudice between the two groups was deeply embedded, my friends, in their history. She might have been familiar with the prayer at the time, a prayer which prayed by many of Jews today. Blessed are Hasmai, King of the universe, for having not made me a Gentile. Blessed are you, Hasmai, King of the universe, for not having made me a slave. Blessed are you, Hasmai, King of the universe, for not making me a woman. Perhaps this woman was familiar with this prayer that the Jews prayed, but Jesus, being a Jew, he stepped in to challenge her comfort cycle. And perhaps what you're dealing with this morning and what you're going through this morning is Jesus trying to challenge our comfort cycle. We're dealing with coronavirus. We're dealing with people dying. We're dealing with losing loved ones. Perhaps Jesus is trying to challenge our comfort cycle. And here's the devastating news. The devastating news is that when you are being challenged, you don't get the message. There's something in being uncomfortable. There's something in being uncomfortable. And so what Jesus does is that he challenged this woman comfort cycle to bring them to a place that they are not usually in. And sometimes we have to be challenged in order to put us in a place that we're not usually in. Sometimes God has to bring calamity on us or allow calamity to come on or to bring us in a place that we're not usually in. Sometimes God has to give us a wake-up call to challenge our comfort cycle to bring us to a place we're not usually in. And so the first step that Jesus used to deal with this entanglement is that he challenged this woman comfort cycle. August challenged Jada comfort cycle. But watch this. Jesus challenged her comfort cycle to get her to see her sinful condition. There it is. It's right there in verse 15 and verse 18. He challenged her comfort cycle, watch this, to get her to see her sinful condition. Watch this. Miss Jada, it matters not if you don't believe in marriage. It matters not if you don't believe in marriage. God's principles are not to be debated. I said, Miss Jada, it matters not if you don't believe in marriage. God's principles are not up for debate. No matter, watch this, if I believe it or not, sin is sin. I'm going to say it again. I know we have gotten comfortable in 2020 are calling sin pretty words like entanglement. But baby, brother, sister, sin is sin. Watch this. I say sin is sin. And the reason why God oftentimes put us in a jacked up situation is because he wants us to see ourselves. And we want us to see our sinful condition. That's how God deals with entanglement. God exposes you to you. Oh, I just said something right there. I said many a time, God exposes you to you. And oftentimes, we cannot see our sinful condition if we do not see, Lord have mercy, ourselves. We got to see ourselves to understand this entanglement that we are in. Watch this. Jesus, there was a story about a woman, amen, that was found in adultery. Y'all know the story. And when they brought her to Jesus. Jesus, of course, dealt with them because he knew that their intention wasn't pure. But by allowing this woman, watch this, to get in this position, are y'all with me? She was able to see herself. And God did not kill her because she was able to see herself. God did not allow her to die because she was able to see her sinful condition. What he told her was to go and sin no more. That's all God is trying to do. God is trying to allow you to see your sinful condition. Because if you don't know that you are entangled, you won't ever try to get out. I think I'll say that again. If you don't know that you are entangled, you won't ever try to get out. And so God, watch this, he challenged your comfort zone so that you can see your sinful condition. And when you see your sinful condition, that's when the detangle happens. Y'all stay with me now. Watch this, watch this. Not only does he want you to see your sinful condition, but watch what he does. Here's my last point, and the lesson will be yours. This woman tried to shift the conversation from her sinful condition to a religion conversation. So we have, watch this, watch this. Watch this. We have, number one, a comfort cycle. We have, number two, a sinful condition. But then, number three, we have a religion conversation. This woman, watch this, tried to shift the conversation to a religion conversation. Watch this. Mr. August pressed her when he told what happened. This is when Mr. and Mrs. Smith had to come out of their silence to switch the narrative, how he was very sick and needed help. Watch this. They try to switch the conversation, not to what she had done, but what he was in need of. Watch this, watch this, watch this. This woman finds herself in verse 19 through 26 when Jesus pressed her for a decision. The woman sought to shift the focus to a question of religion. Her question centered around one of the old age disputes, watch this, in which laid out a plausible proof text argument for being the place of Jehovah had placed, watch this, where Jehovah had placed his name. Watch this. That's Genesis chapter 12 and verse 6, Deuteronomy chapter 27 and verse 12, Joshua chapter 8 and verse 30 through 36. Watch this. In other words, let me just go ahead and archinize it for you. My church versus your church argument. My church versus your church argument. Watch this. Do you know Jesus? Watch this. In other words, she was trying to shift the conversation to a religious conversation. But Jesus, watch this, is here, watch this, to get us out of our entanglement. Not so much with religion, but Jesus is trying to get us out of the religion conversation. In other words, this watch denomination versus this denomination, and that denomination versus that denomination, this church versus that church. Jesus is trying to get us from that, and he's trying to get us from a religion conversation into a relationship, Lord have mercy, conversation. He said the day is going to come where true worshipers, Lord have mercy, the day is going to come when it's not going to be about Jews and Gentiles, when it's not going to be about Orthodox, and when it's not going to be about this and that, but it's going to be about me and in relationship with me. Watch this. Watch this. I like this. I like this because Jesus, I like what he did. When I tell you Big J is cold-blooded, and I'm talking about Jesus, he's cold-blooded because what Big J did was Big J shifted the conversation to get her out of this entanglement that she's in. what he did was he challenged her comfortable cycle. Watch this. Then, after he challenged her comfortable cycle, he dealt with her sinful condition. Watch this. He trying to work her out of the entanglement. He trying to work her out of entanglement. And after he dealt with her sinful condition, she tried to shift it to religion conversation. But watch this. Jesus said it's not about what church you go to, but it's about, are you in relationship with me? Oh, Lord have mercy. Watch this enlightenment. Watch this, watch this. Because Jesus is trying to get her from entanglement to enlightenment. I said Jesus is ultimately trying to get her from entanglement to enlightenment. That's what Jesus is trying to get us from. That's what Jesus is trying to get us from. Jesus is trying to get us from entanglement to enlightenment. And if he can get us from entanglement to enlightenment, watch this, the conversation shifted. The conversation shifted in verse 25. She was rewarded with a plain truth most of the Jews was not privileged to hear. Watch this, verse 26 says that Jesus didn't often reveal himself so plainly but to have done so, it would have increased opposition. But he had a plan and he had a reason for being here. And so Jesus, watch this, I really want you to see this. Jesus got her from entanglement to enlightenment. And that's what he ultimately is trying to do with us. Jesus is trying to get us from entanglement to enlightenment. I want you to see this. I want you to see this, and the lesson is going to be yours. Watch what he said. Jesus says to her, I that speak unto thee am he. Are y'all with me? Watch this, verse 25. The woman said unto him, I know the Messiah coming, which is called Christ. When he come, he will tell us of all things. Watch what Jesus do. Jesus said unto her, I that speaketh unto thee am he. I am Jesus. And so Jesus got this woman who was entangled with men, who had different men in her life. And Jesus challenged her comfortable cycle so that she can see her sinful condition. When she tried to shift it to religion conversation, Jesus got her to see that it wasn't about religion conversation, but it really was about relationship with the Christ. That's the enlightenment. And that if we are going to ever get out of the entanglements of this world, is that we got to have relationship with Jesus Christ. I don't know who you are this morning. I don't know where you're at this morning. But if you find yourself entangled, you got to have a relationship with Christ. And see, when you have this relationship with Christ, I'm about to let you all go. When you have this relationship with Christ, he will come in and he will get you out of the entanglements that you have got yourself in. He's a wonderful Savior to me, to you, and to this world. Because the remedy for entanglement is relationship with God. I hope I said something this morning, just a little something to bless your life. May God bless you. And until we meet again on next Sunday, I hope this word blesses you. God is trying to get you out of your comfort cycle so that you can see your sinful condition and change your religion conversation to a relationship with the Christ. And that, my friend, is from entanglement to enlightenment. May God bless you, and may he bless you well.